Hey, how we doing this night? Don't mind me, I'm a lot under the weather, but I figured I would talk about what occurred. Can't remember the guy's name right now. Who was it? Matthew Livelsberger. Just goes by Berg. And the manifesto that came out on Sean Ryan's podcast, as well as other related info. So with that said, I do want to say this though. If you're ever looking for some good info, that's not going to be, how can I say this? It's not going to be, it's available for everyone. It's good stuff. Good stuff. You find just about all kinds of cool stuff on Rumble. I suggest go to Rumble, because what you may not find on one platform, you may very well do so on another. With that said, let's get into it.
Major developments in the investigation into the man behind the Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas. Late today, police saying the driver left behind notes on his phone, detailing his actions and clues to a possible motive. Newly released surveillance video shows Army Green Beret Matthew Livelsberger at a Tesla charging station during his trip to Las Vegas. That chilling video of his final destination, the Trump Hotel. Authorities say Livelsberger died by suicide just before that blast. And they say in the notes he left behind, he railed against the United States, but he held no animosity toward the president-elect. And he wrote, quote, "This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call." ABC's Mola Lenghi leads us off in Las Vegas again tonight.
Tonight, authorities saying the highly decorated Green Beret suspected of using explosives to blow up that Cybertruck outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas left behind notes found on his cell phone, providing clues to a possible motive.
And in there, you can read a couple of the excerpts. We are the United States of America, the best country, people to ever exist. But right now, we are terminally ill and headed towards collapse. This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it now? I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took.
Officials confirming that 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger died by suicide just before the explosion. Master Sergeant Livelsberger was on approved leave from his base in Germany. A senior U.S. official telling ABC News there had been no red flags. Authorities releasing these new surveillance images showing him at a Tesla charging station as he made his way from Colorado to New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. That Cybertruck rented via the app Turo. Livelsberger pulling into the hotel valet at 7:35 a.m. Wednesday before pulling out, returning an hour later. And then, 17 seconds later, the explosion. 7 bystanders injured. Sources say Livelsberger was divorced and had recently remarried, his wife reportedly telling authorities he'd been out of the house in Colorado Springs since Christmas following a dispute over infidelity. And while investigators say they found those notes railing against the condition of the United States, they say the soldier held no animosity towards President-elect Trump.
Now, I do want to say this, and that is, that would explain why when they did the DNA, it didn't match. His DNA didn't match his son, well, his alleged son now.
Towards the president-elect. The Army indicates that he likely suffered from PTSD, and we are also aware that there were potential other family issues or personal grievances in his own life that may have been contributing factors.
Investigators scouring the suspect's background. FBI and local police searching this townhome in Colorado Springs. Neighbors stunned.
He seemed normal. His wife is very nice. They just had a baby.
Well, Mary, late today, the sheriff here in Las Vegas saying they are aware of a podcast claiming to have a letter from Matthew Livelsberger mentioning recent drone sightings in the Northeast and claiming that he was being followed by federal investigators. Now, authorities say they're not 100% certain it came from him, but they do believe it did. Mary?
Mola Lengi with the disturbing new details tonight. Mola, thank you.
Here is that from the podcast, that letter.
Do something.
Yeah, I'm in a military group chat. Buddy Green Beret, Corey, he says, at Sam. Nobody I've asked in the community knows him. You is at 8:46 a.m. yesterday. So I woke up and I said, OF, I'm shaking. This guy emailed me 2 days ago. I'm not playing. And then he said, damn. And then this was my response to him at 8:48. Like, just woke up.
Dude, I'm fucking shaking, bro. You don't understand. This guy emailed me and told me he was being watched by the FBI and Homeland Security, but they weren't going to do anything to him because he had a V-bid. I'm not fucking playing, dude. I have the email. I am shaking, man. This is nuts.
And it goes from there. And I sat there for probably an hour talking to my wife. I'm shaking. I can't even think straight. Like, normal day is shot, and I didn't know what I want to do. Do I sit on this? Do I do nothing with it? I've got to tell somebody. I've got to tell the FBI at least, because this is huge. This is all over the news. And then I was like, well, dude, this guy wanted to get in contact with Sean Ryan, so let me get this to Sean Ryan, see if I can get with him. And I had
And there's that manifesto we're talking about.
A buddy who knew your producer, and we went from there. But
wow. Do you want to read the email?
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operations Center, our OPSEN location for this activity it is in the box below. China.
Now I'm going to read some of this myself because I don't want to get a copyright strike from YouTube. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. And as of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they use the balloon for sight and I don't know what that word is, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed of stealth of these unmanned ACs. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House. If they wanted, it's checkmate. USG needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me. Excuse me. And are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bed. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Afghanistan in 2019 by the administration, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of Civcas that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. USFORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft and CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with USFORA and Agent Redacted of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with Jen Miller's IO staff on this, as well as the response to Bala, I don't know that word, Magab, AOB/S commander at the time. Redacted can validate this. I'll try to play a little bit more, but again, I want to stay within the boundaries of not getting a strike.
That's 1st Battalion, 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page. First thing I noticed was all of his bona fides were in place. He has all the UAS training from USASOC and everything else. And so I said, okay, at least the guy knows what he's talking about with drones. That was a very rough dig into the guy. But my issue was I couldn't validate or verify any of this information. And I told him that. And how I responded to him was in a subsequent email. I said, this is obviously a very big deal, but I don't have anything to verify this information with. Talking about gravitic propulsion systems without evidence just makes me another UFO talking head. Like, I'm not going to go on my social media page and start talking about UFOs and anti-gravity systems and everything. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't. And he said, can I get on Fox News Contact on Signal as well as Sean's show? Hegseth would be good too. That was his last message to me.
All right.
Wow.
Now we'll get into this breaking news. Alleged bomber and Delta Force operator Matthew Berg is a deep state patsy. Oh, yeah, I remember. Oh, yeah, this is the good one. Saw something about with the Rumble, because you won't find them now on YouTube.
His uncle and family are saying that he was a Tier 1 operator in Delta Force. That, of course, is normally secret when somebody's currently in it. I have multiple sources that I've been talking to today that are well known to me for many years that are currently in Delta Force, and they say he was, and they worked with him, and that he was an amazing person and a total patriot and a huge Trump supporter and a listener of this show. He did not blow up the Tesla truck in front of Trump International Hotel in Vegas, New Year's Day. Now, that's a pretty big piece of information right there. And it's in the news, his family saying he was in Delta Force and a big patriot. And he was talking to people up to hours before, completely normal. Oh, meanwhile, FBI claims no definitive link between New Orleans terror attack and Las Vegas Cybertruck bombing incident. The New Orleans terrorist, supposed terrorist, recently traveled to Muslim Brotherhood headquarters, Cairo, Egypt. Well, yeah, because out of the army, he becomes a spy for Homeland Security or the CIA or both, and again, gets set up in a drill and killed. That's the most probable scenario for past behavior and the cover-up we see going on. Both men are patsies, in my view. With Livelsberger, I'll say 100%, because I know people that knew him and people I know well that are vouching for him. So, the globalists have the motive. The globalists have the history. They have the connections. They have the background. Then two guys from the same super secretive unit on the same day go out and carry out terror attacks. And then the state police get the footage in New Orleans and say it shows 3 other people planting bombs. And the FBI scooped these bombs up and detonators. First, the FBI said it wasn't terror. Then they said, okay, it is terror. But, oh, no, don't listen to the state police. This guy acted alone. Livelsberger is 100% innocent. They say he was a super awesome guy. I know people that served with him, were in combat with him, that knew him well, that trained with him, and they say this is horse crap.
And I got one last video. Man, I really don't. There's a lot. There's a lot here. We'll just get to it. Get right to the. Play a bit of it. Oh, look at that. The glitch. The glitch. Fix that glitch. Don't play games with me.
Good afternoon. I'm Assistant Sheriff Dory Corrin. I oversee our Homeland Security and Investigative Services group, which includes our counterterrorism unit that's been working around the clock on this investigation. I just want to briefly share a few updates on some key areas to include the operational activity that led up to this incident, a little bit of information on the post-blast investigation as we know it today, and then finally some of the information that we're discovering most recently about motives and plans to give you some insight on why this individual committed the act that he committed. To begin, just with the operational activity, the sheriff yesterday talked about the route that the suspect took to get to Las Vegas. We used a lot of this information to be able to track down video surveillance footage around different locations, as well as financial records, as well as call data records, as well as looking at the Tesla charging stations to be able to determine exactly which route the individual took, but more importantly, that it was the individual that we've identified, as well as the only individual in the vehicle during the path that he took to Las Vegas. As you'll see here in this video here at one of the charging stations, there's just one example. You'll see our suspect here. He'll exit the vehicle. He'll walk around the vehicle at different times. At one point, you're going to see that he opens the door of the vehicle. He retrieves a coat. He puts that coat on, and you're going to see that at different parts to include the photo that the sheriff talked about just a few minutes ago. We use this video information as well as what I said earlier about the financial records in terms of purchases being made with different credit cards, call data records, a video canvas at multiple locations, trying to use all of that to corroborate that the individual that we've identified is the same individual that drove that Tesla during that route that we've identified to Las Vegas. In addition to that, we also talked about the phones that were recovered. There were 2 phones that we recovered from the vehicle. Both phones were damaged. We are still trying to access the data in one of the phones, but we have been fortunate in our team, which is second to none, has done a really good job accessing the data in one of the phones that was recovered. You can see the phone here in the vehicle. It's very burnt from the outside. You can see another image here. But we're able to take this phone and be able to extract the data using a variety of different tools. And in that, we've identified a variety of information, but one thing in particular is there was an application in there that the suspect used to take notes. In that application, one of the notes is titled Surveillance Log by the Suspect. It appears to be more of a journal of activity. It dates for about 10 days leading up to the incident, from December 21st to December 31st of this past year. In that surveillance log, or as we would like to call it, a journal, because it's more of a diary of activity that he's conducting, we identify multiple locations that match what we have in the route. We identify activity that we've matched. So, for example, him purchasing firearms, him purchasing camping equipment or other types of equipment that were used in this incident, matched what our data showed in terms of the route and the video surveillance we were recovering along that route. Beyond the operational activity, I want to also get a little bit into the post-blast investigation. So make no mistake, this is a suicide vehicle-borne improvised explosive device, or short, it's a suicide VBID. We know also, as mentioned by the sheriff yesterday, there was a self-inflicted gunshot wound by the suspect. The coroner was very specific. In their examination, it was an intraorbital gunshot wound, which essentially means that the suspect put the firearm in his mouth and discharged the gun, and ultimately the round came out to the left side of his head. In addition to that, in terms of our assessment of the post-blast to confirm that he's the only individual involved and the only individual in the vehicle, we did a variety of video and photo comparisons to match the clothing. So if you look here, for example, this is a video in Las Vegas, and you're going to see in a moment here where he parks the Tesla truck. He comes out, and you're going to see some descriptive clothing that matches some of the other video that we've recovered along the route. Please keep in mind, this is a very extensive investigation, so there's a
Now, I want to make a point to mention that people have said that who's to say that that was a living body in that Tesla? In other words, because these Teslas, they can operate on their own, who's to say he didn't just dump a body in there and have the Tesla itself, the Cybertruck, drive itself to Trump Tower in Las Vegas? But if you see in this video, his head is moving. Whoever this is in here, I'm just saying for the sake of argument, whoever it is that's in here,
that we've recovered along the route. Please.
There, right there, you see that man's head was moving. One more time.
The Tesla truck. He comes out, and you're
Pay
going to
attention
see
to the
some
driver.
descriptive clothing that matches some of the other video that we've recovered along the route.
Yeah, right there.
Please keep in mind, this is a very extensive investigation, so there's a lot of content for us to review and examine. We're just showing examples and samples as we get them. There's more information as we go through it. But in this video, you can see even the distinctive jacket that he is wearing in that vehicle. The other thing that's important is the sheriff mentioned yesterday that Tesla sent to us engineers to come to Las Vegas to help us extract data from the vehicle. Thanks to their support, we were able to extract an SDMI chip from the Tesla vehicle, and Tesla was able to confirm to us using the data from the vehicle that the vehicle was not in full self-driving mode at any time during this incident.
So there you have it. I'm not trying to say, hey, everybody, believe the narrative. But I am saying it very well could be that he was in that car and the child that he was fathering wasn't his. It doesn't dismiss, though, his manifesto in regards to the anti-gravity technology that he is proclaiming, as many others have, like Dr. Alan Green, or have all said exists, and that the U.S. military is withholding. But having said that, this is another one in the books, and good night.
You have to say it, baby. And us in Texas, you wanna try, baby. I know you can, I know your heart, and you will figure out you love me now, 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 you now. I gotta leave, you love me now, 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 you now. I gotta leave. Figure out